So, hello, everyone. I am so excited for this workshop because I have prepared a lot of material to cover. And the way that I'm going to do this, I'm going to give you a short overlook of what to expect today and then what to expect in the next two more Thursdays, where I'm going to talk about the same topic, which is body. So I'm going to start with a short introduction about myself and who am I to talk about this topic and why I believe that I am, let's say, quite an expert in this area. Then I am going to talk about the whole structure of the series and why I structured it this way. Then I'm going to talk about the four ways that the universe is talking to us. So the whole the whole topic is going to come from very, very broad. And then I'm going to start narrowing down. And the idea about the third one is going to be mostly about asking questions, mostly about your exact problem or your exact challenge, so I can give you more support about what's going on and how to understand, how to decode what's going on, even either in your life or when you know this information, you can help other people. And what I believe that the biggest thing that it's missing is consciousness, right, around everything. So as you know, my message is always, and my whole purpose and passion is to help people go from this unconscious default way of creating reality, from unconscious patterns towards conscious creation and conscious and deliberate creation of reality, where you can actually start bringing into your life what you actually desire, and you become a person who is in control of their reality and in control of their body and in control of what's going on and in control especially of their future, let's say. But as you know, there's no such a thing. but I prefer to say, so you understand that, because and this is the whole topic that I want to share actually in these three series, but more focused on from the perspective of the body, the physical body, and when it comes to illnesses, symptoms, different type of symptoms, and I want you to understand what I have understood from, and that perspective from where I am seeing how perfect is creation, how everything is happening for us and on our behalf and on our benefit. And when you start seeing that, you take back your power, and there's no anymore such a thing that you have to fear what's going on outside of you, what's going to happen and who is going to do what, and where is the world going, and all those kind of fearful scenarios that we are bombarded with. And let's be honest, 99% of the people are running their life based on everything outside of themselves, and there is a reason for that. And I'm also going to talk about that. And so, as I said before, for those who arrived later, in this today's episode, I want to talk about more the general understanding, the higher perspective, the more encompassing understanding of how we are creating reality. And then, as we're moving towards the second and the third episode, I'm going to go more and more into narrowing down to the body and how to decode and understand the messages that we are getting from outside of us, and through our body as well. And then the third episode, I want to go more into your specific challenges, and each Thursday is going to finish with a Q&A. And I think the third day is going to be a longer Q&A, because by that time you're going to have a lot of questions all related to your own situation. And So towards the end and towards even the second workshop, I'm going to talk and give you a lot of different examples of different cases, my own cases, and how I did it, and how I healed my own, chronic illnesses and different type of things. And then talking about other people who I helped, like my clients, and the amazing stories and amazing results that they had. And then towards the end, like the second and the third, we're going to talk about tools, like to be able to apply it in your own life, to be able to understand your own situation. But in order to get there, I want to start with the big picture, because what I believe that it's the way to do this. The key to solve the problem is that you start to understand the big picture, not just about your body and your illness, but about your life in general. And I would even say beyond that is our existence in general, because then you see that everything makes sense. Then you see that everything is logical. Then that you understand your life, you start to understand who you are, you start to understand your power, you start to realize that you do have a choice, so you are free. But while we are kept also trapped in these um unconscious creation, as I said before, it's almost impossible to take a step back and to just see the big picture, and you to be able to make different choices and decisions. So this is what I prepared, and I hope you're excited, because I am. And hello, everyone who just joined. I'm so happy for you to be here, and I really hope that this is going to help you step, even if you don't have any like challenges, physical illnesses, diseases, challenges like that in that you are experiencing right now. It's my goal here is to understand, like, everything I'm going to share is going to be about you going to the next level of your consciousness, and becoming even a better creator of your reality. And of course, if you do have then some type of challenge, then I really hope that you will get all the answers, get the aha moments, get the understanding. And that's why I did the Q&A, because, and this is why this is called a workshop and not a masterclass where I just talk and then you just listen, because I want it to be practical. And I'm here to really give you that support that you need, so you don't just listen to something and then you cannot really connect it with your own life. But I want you to ask questions. So in case that you do have questions and you don't want to wait until the end, you can put it in the chat, and then I will come back afterwards, and towards the end, then I'm going to answer all the questions. And also you can ask directly questions. Right. So if we are done with that, let me just introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Agnes Lukac, and I am a healer and a psychic and a therapist, and let's say coach. There's a lot of like things to me, but I don't really like to use this label. Mostly, especially lately, I started to call myself a spiritual guide, because this is what I am right now, and this is how I see myself. I believe that the only or my only purpose here is to awaken people to who they truly are and how powerful we are, and how and why we are here, and to be able to live the best life we can, and become an example for millions who will follow us very, very soon, as you all know. And I'm having chills just saying that. But the next 10 years is going to be just so freaking amazing. The millions will start waking up, and we are here, the forerunners of these, the way showers of this awakening. And just because you're listening to this That's what it means, that you are one, that you are here to show the world how amazing we are, and how we are actually creating our reality. And waking up to that, imagine how much we can actually create and change. And the purpose is joy. So without forgetting that, we are here to live joy, and share joy. So if the body is out of balance, that's not very easy to be too joyful about. So that's why I picked this topic. But as you know me, what I'm talking about is applicable to every single area of your life, from finding love, and a true love, because even like that topic, and I'm sure that after this series I'm going to talk about relationships, especially going from again the default type of connection, where we were connecting from our childhood wounds and patterns and pain, to the divine union, and the union between the divine and healthy divine feminine and masculine, which is the new earth relationship pattern that we are creating right now on earth. Again, light workers as being the example of what does that mean, and how do you create that. We have that in our hearts, and many of us are single. That's not a coincidence. That's part of the journey. This is how you planned it. So I really, really want to talk about this as well in the next series, and how you can actually prepare for that union, and what are the steps that you need to kind of like stock taking, like where you are, and where you want to be with that, and bringing a lot of awareness into that area of your life. And then obviously the third series is about money, and finances, and financial freedom, and abundance, and wealth, which is another amazing topic. So these are the three things that I think covers basically everything, from purpose to well-being. All the topics are going to be covered. So I've been on my own journey for 20 years, and in these 20 years, the biggest thing that I wanted to know was always why. Like, okay, so this is the thing, but why? But why? But so this is what I'm experiencing, but why? So that kind of, I can say, that took me down on many rabbit holes that most probably were not necessary to change or transform, but this is how I'm wired. So, and knowing, I know exactly why I am wired this way, and I had an amazing adventure in going down to these rabbit holes. And now that helped me to see the world the way I see it, and actually sharing that with you right now. So I can help you better by wanting to know the whys behind everything that was happening in my life and everybody's else lives as well. And I have healed my chronic illness. I had for more than 2 years a chronic inflammation, which I'm going to share to you, probably not today, but on next Thursday. And how I healed that. There was an instant healing. It just happened in an instant. But looking back from now, and from the consciousness level I am today, I could see exactly how I created it in my life, why I created it, and why I was able to heal it exactly in that way, in that moment, and how my life transformed after that, and how I grew after that, and how it was not necessary for me to create it, but I didn't know better. And also, I'm going to talk about different ways. Like, I'm just want to hit now into the topic, because I can't wait to just start sharing all these things with you, because we are actually going to talk about from intuition to all these different imbalances that are, I call imbalances, but they are the diseases and illnesses and all those kind of things. And we are going to go into near death experiences, which is what I believe the other end of the spectrum. And seeing this and knowing that this is that there, the behind all these are patterns, that is not a coincidence, that is not random stuff happening to random people, but when you understand that everything is connected and related to everything else, it just blows your mind. First of all, because you can do the changes in your life, but because you start seeing it in other people's lives. And imagine if you could change, if you could talk to someone, and that conversation would stop the person to have an accident or a near death experience. How important that is to know about this and understand it. Like, I wish that someone would have told me everything I'm going to tell you in these three series 10 years ago. Oh my god, like, there's so many things they could have helped me to avoid, which were completely unnecessary for from the point of view of learning, because you learn because you don't know any better. So you go for the next slap and another slap and another slap. Right? So you keep going back for more slaps because you just don't get it. And I wish someone would have just sit down with me and said, "Hey, this is what's going on in your life. Why are you keep back going back for this slap? Why don't you just get it?" And then I would just got it, but I didn't. So, which is good, because now I can tell you how you can avoid all these crazy side tracks in your life, and to really create what you actually desire without the slaps. So, with that said, I'm just going to go into and start this whole topic with before you were born. That's where we are. That's how far I have to go back. Because when you understand how logical this is, you will also understand all the other things that are happening around you. So here we go. So without you come down to this experience on earth, being Carol and Lynn and Erica and all of you here, right? And Dirk, right? So before you come to this reality, you have a plan. You know exactly what you want to experience. And some of us also have some other baggages from the past, but you have to know that you don't come with a complete, clean slate. It's impossible, because you're going to be born into a family lineage, and by DNA you are connected with them. So guess what? You also inherit not just sometimes illnesses, which is quite obvious. We know this, that we know that we inherit stuff from parents, but also we inherit other things, like patterns that you don't even think about, like different when I mean patterns, I mean like fears, or patterns of abandonment, of rejection, um, or different type of fears, or even phobias. Like I really hope that I can share all these different examples, because they are just mind-blowing. And I love to talk about the stories that I've seen and help people with. And when you just even listen to them, you're like, no way that this actually is true. And we know so little about that. So little, for example, about inherited uh, patterns, about what you can do with it. Is it really possible to heal? And even past life things, like, is it really a thing that you have a problem and it comes from a past which is parallel, actually, because there's no future and past, right? So it's parallel. But is it really, it's like, can this really happen? Oh, absolutely freaking yes. Now, of course, when you are looking for, you have a thing and you have no idea where to look, you have no idea who to ask, you have no connection to your body, and it's very scary. And I totally like admit that. And when I was in these situations, I didn't know what to do. I was scared and freaked out, and I was in the pain and suffering and hopeless. That's why I'm sitting here today and to share this information, so you don't get there, because this information is here. It's available. I'm talking about this, and so many other people are talking about this finally. So yes, there are things that that you can find out, that you can decode your messages. Where is it coming from? What wants to tell you? What you need to see, what you need to understand, what you need to let go, where you need to move on, what are the steps that you need to take, what is actually going on. right? This is why I'm here today. So you can look at your life by the end of this workshop and to have a clear picture about what the heck is going on in my life. And if you don't know, well, you can ask me. I can tell you what's going on in your life because this is my job actually. That I can, not because I'm so smart, just because I can connect with your higher self, and I can bring that information down. And actually, what I love even more than that is that you can connect to your higher self and you can ask your information. Because the other thing that I'm teaching, and some of you know, because some of you were or are in my inner circle and my healing circle community, you know that my thing is always teaching you how to do all these things. So you don't need to rely on anyone outside of you. You don't need to rely on people that you get, sometimes even addicted to, because you believe you don't have that. What they have, they don't have. You don't have the guidance, the clarity, but you do have. And I really, the other goal and purpose really here, and I know it, we have limited time, but I hope that I can just teach you that one tool by the end of the 3 days, that you can start using today, so you can get more clarity from you yourself, your more expanded consciousness, so you can start already doing some, or taking the steps towards your well-being, and not just well-being, but the life you actually desire to create for yourself. So as I said, going back to where we started, like we come down to these pre-planned. You already know what time you're going to come down, exactly how the planets will be. So that will give you an idea about the personality, right? So if you're Taurus or Gemini, already it's a kind of a pattern that you're going to come into. Then you choose the family lineage. That's not a coincidence as well. And with the family lineage, you're going to get a karma as well. Sometimes, not always. And then you also can bring your other life's karmas. If you had things that you didn't finish or things that didn't work out the way you planned, you're also going to take that on this life. And why particularly this life? Before even I continue, because everyone who's listening to this now, today or later, you are light workers or star seeds, which I usually call light workers as well. So I'm not going to go into who is what and why and what does that mean, but I'm going to just talk generally about light workers. And you are light workers. So if you're a light worker, most probably, and I'm going to just channel quickly down the percentage. Okay, so it's more, almost 70% of the light workers, especially the old souls, are here as being their last life on Earth. Now, that's crazy, right? So it is the last life. If you had, like now in your body, any type of like chills or any type of sensation in your body, that's absolutely true for you. So it's a confirmation. But I'm also going to teach you how to ask that. But going back to the information, yeah, okay. So you feel relieved, yes. Now that's why it's so difficult on one side. This is why so many light workers had difficult and traumatic childhood. Okay, you paying back the bills this life. So what it means that the first part of your life is going to be really difficult. So you wake up, you pay back everything, and then you open up to who you truly are, and you will still stay here. Many of us will stay here as an awakened being to help others. Not all, but many, because we are not so nice. So, and we love humanity. So this is true for star seeds and light workers as well. There is a difference between, but as I said, I don't want to go into, but just know that for many, this why it is just so struggly. Our experience, or was struggly until now, or up to now. and there was a lot of shit happening, and you had to deal with it, and you had to really go down and really face, and work with your ancestors and work with karma, and some we still do. But there's a lot of good news that I'm going to tell you after, or well, towards the end. But so as you go, as you come down, you actually have a combination of all these kind of things. But good news that you don't come down without guidance, which it would be really crazy, because you come down, and because the veil comes also like comes down, right? You get this forgetting. You have no idea why you're here, what you need to do, where you need to go, like what was the plan? Because it really sounded amazing before you came down, but now that you're down, let's say the majority of us don't remember, because I have a lot of friends and clients who do remember from the first moment. But that's like, and when I say first moment, they actually remember that this is not their planet. They remember that this is not their family. They remember who they truly are. They have all these supernatural gifts. They saw, you know, um, they had the mediums abilities already. They were seeing non-physical beings, and from, you know, their soul family, also the spirits around, angels and all that. So there's more and more people coming out now with this, because they are not considered anymore that crazy. So we are most, a lot of them are admitting that, well, yeah, I always knew that, or I've always been like this, or but let's say like there's quite few more are those like me, for example, that I don't remember having any of these when I was a child. So we have the guidance there. The guidance is coming, is inside of us. So I'm going to share to you now the 4 ways that we are guided on a daily basis through these, let's say, soul. Because when we come down, it's not that like your whole soul comes down into your body. It's just that consciousness of who you are is focused into a body, into a dense reality on the planet, in this time and space right here, as Agnes, Dirk, Carol, Erica, and so on. But there's this more like expanded consciousness is still beyond this reality, and is also focused in many other experiences at the same time. And I don't really expect this to like for the mind to understand. I mean, we're talking about this a lot, and but it's really difficult to wrap our minds around, and we don't even have to for what I'm talking about here. But I really need to say this. So it's kind of, as you can imagine, like it's all these consciousness that who you are, and then in order to experience itself, it's going to come down and focus itself down into all these different consciousnesses, like characters, let's say, which can be on planet Earth or can be also in other galaxies and universes. That's why now that we are expanding our consciousness, we are able to unfocus from here and focus into another parallel reality, and then another, and then another. And you can just do that because you finally are able to, because your consciousness is high enough to be able to know about this, and then be able to use these abilities. That's why I, for example, started to see other people's past lives. Right, so other people past lives, and as a book, right? And it's quite new. 3 years ago it started, so it wasn't like this always. It's because my consciousness is started to go higher and higher, and then these things just start to open up, which is true for all of us. And you can hear a lot of people talking about this, that they can just connect or see either in your dreams or in your waking time to reconnect to other lives. And also it's important this because it's also related to illnesses and diseases, and this is why they're coming up as well. Side note. Right, so these 4 ways, the first way is the connection that you have, the way your higher self. And what I'm always referring, I'm always talking about higher self, But what I mean by this is that higher, expanded, or more expanded consciousness of who you are. We also talk about this as the fifth dimensional consciousness. This is where we are waking up into. This is what's going on planetarily with humanity at large, that we are waking up from this unconscious zombie type of creating reality based on patterns and we inherited and we were conditioned into, and then our childhood stuff and the beliefs and the limitations and the lies and the illusions, and we have no idea what the heck we're doing, and then we just kind of try to bump from one thing to another and struggle and suffer. And this is how reality looked like so far. And who we light workers are coming out, waking up from that and saying, hey, what the heck, like, what the heck is this? Why I'm doing this? Why is happening this to me? And more importantly, how can I change and have something completely different? And this is why we're talking here. So you have this connection with your higher self, and I'm going to keep talking about higher self. And higher self is always guiding us at all times. The moment you came down, and as I said, many of us remember that from very early age, and some of us have no idea that this was going on, even though if you really, really are honest with yourself, you kind of know that you always had that feeling that there's something more beyond your body, or there's some type of guidance happening. And I was aware, but I was ignoring it. Now 99% of people are ignoring completely their inner voice and inner guidance, which is basically the only connection you have with your self, who is beyond this three-dimensional matrix illusion. But at very, very early age, we are taught into disregarding our intuition and our gut feeling, right? So this is the biggest problem. The disconnection comes from you being taught that that's not something that is important, something that you need to follow or listen to. What you need to follow is, first of all, everybody around you, right? You are taught into listening to people, first of all, parents, obviously, because they were older and you depended on them. So you start to listen to what they want. Then people around you in a bigger area, like teachers and other caretakers and so on. And then later you only listen to your mind and the logic. That's how we are trained. So basically, the only guidance that is there for us, that would help us to really have that joyful, amazing life beyond limitation, in well-being, in abundance, in true love, we completely put that on hold, and we already start to go against that and to listen to everything outside of us. And this is the result. Our reality looks exactly like that. A lot of people who are lost and disconnected from their bodies. That's why we have no idea what the signs are telling us. We have no idea what the illness wants from us. We believe it's a curse. and and then we run, right? We run to the doctors, which have also no idea what the heck I have the problem. Because have you ever asked a doctor, okay, so but why? Because I did. And they look at you like, what's that stupid question? Like, how would I know why you have the problem? So it's not my thing to tell you why you have the problem. My thing is to give you medication so you get better in the best case scenario. Right? So let's say that this is how it was created, and which is okay, but in most of the cases, it's not something that will work and for good. And then the problem is that as soon as we take the numbing pill in and the symptoms are gone, you didn't get closer to what the heck is going on. And obviously they never, and if you don't know what the heck is going on, you will just go round and round creating another illness and another illness, because the problem is not solved. So this is why it's so important to understand. And this is here's a disclaimer. I will never say that people shouldn't go to the doctors. I would never say that they shouldn't follow the treatment and the whatever the doctor are saying. But like, I would say as important, but from my perspective, and this is only my own belief, from my belief is that it's even more important, like, to actually go and understand and see, because the illness is just a message. When you got the message, the body will create well-being. So, and that's why we are talking about today, like how to do that. But if you believe you need to take, and sometimes it's very helpful because it's easier for us to really spend time in understanding what's going on when you are not in excruciating pain. So yeah. Right. So, going back to the first part of messaging. So, we are constantly being sent guidance. And the guidance, the first level, so I'm going to share with you 4 different stages or levels of guidance that your higher self want to keep you on track so you actually do what you came for, which is having a freaking good time on earth. Believe it or not, right? Believe it or not, but you came here to have a freaking good time, to remember that you are the creator of your reality, and to actually create that makes you happy, joyful, and your heart is full, and you are in your potential, and you create beyond potential, and you leave a sign behind you. And that doesn't have to be you saving the world as a, whatever big spiritual guru. It can be in your life, whatever that means for you. But I believe that having an amazing, deeply, loving connection with a partner, with a divine partner, I believe that's everybody's desire. Or having a fulfilling job, like, and I say job, like something you do that you love doing and other people love paying for what you're doing. So that's what I call like job. So something that it makes your heart sing. That's something everybody desires. Then having people around them that really love them unconditionally and they can love them unconditionally, it's also something everybody desires, right? So first level, I'm going to go back to the first level. First level is intuition. So intuition is there for you to create that life. So, but as I said, in childhood, that intuition is kind of like killed, because the first problem that it occurs, it's lack of trust. And that lack of trust, it creates the biggest problem in that's what at least I see in the world, because that disconnection from yourself is the biggest problem, because you have no idea what you're doing here, where you're going, what I'm supposed to, what is this, how I'm supposed to go around this, why I'm keep attracting this, why I'm keep attracting this situation, that person, that betrayal, this lack, like, have no idea. And you have no idea because you are disconnected from the guidance. And so the biggest thing we need to do is reconnect with that guidance. And this is my first and most important um, goal that I always do in my community. And I'm really going to give you the step, like what I can teach you to start recreating that connection, so you can start, instead of going out for all the questions and going to fortune tellers and palm readers and tarot card readers, and like, you tell me what's going to happen. No, you know what's going to happen because you're creating it. So like, how these people are only going to read the energy that you are emitting, which is another amazing topic. Like, why can they say, because 99% of the world doesn't believe in these kind of things, right? I didn't. And now I see, oh, of course, like, they are reading the energy I am giving out. So it's attraction, right? The cards are going to match my energy. That's why everything matches me, because everything is me. So it makes a lot of sense, and I see this over and over and over again. So no matter like fortune teller or palm reader, they reading you. So they reading your right now situation, what you have been emitting in the past, and that's basically the momentum you are creating for the future. And you can change that anytime. And I have so many examples of that, like exactly this, that someone was working with me and at the same time was working with a fortune teller, not working, um, asking support, because in her culture this is something, it's very very highly regarded to work with a, it's, well, it's just fortune teller. They're not called fortune tellers in that culture, but it's basically that. Like maybe what they do, they read you and they tell you predictions. And and it was absolutely incredible that the more we were working together, the more the information was changing what the person was reading. And first they said, no, you have no chance with this man. Then 2 months later, oh, you have a chance with this man. 2 months later, you're going to get married to this man. It was like, what? Because we were keep working on her, and actually at the same time with the men, completely independently. They were my clients. Now they got married last year. So even if they saying you have no chance to be happy with this man, well, you do have a chance to be happy with this man. So everything is possible, and because it depends on our desires and what we do for that to become a reality. So first layer of communication, how your higher self tries to keep you on track, is inner guidance, which is everything that's happening inside of you. Intuition, that idea, like, oh, like I got an idea, I want to go and follow it. That urge of doing something, the nudge of some type of like inner thing, something that happens inside of you that and you are not taking any action on. If you are not taking any action on, and I'm going to give you some examples, then the universe has to go to the second level of trying to send you the message. And that is all the things happening around you and outside of you. So those are going to be conversation with friends, messages that are coming through every possible way, from advertising to posts to videos to seeing a sign outside. It can be your higher consciousness is using everything that it possibly can to send the message what you need to do. So what type of, actually, like, what we need to do while we are ignoring? Now, let's say that you are in a relationship and you really know deep down that this is not what you desire, but you are not taking any steps. Or it's a job that you truly hate, that your soul is dying, but you are not taking any steps. Or it's a place that you truly hate and you are not doing anything about it. It's a situation that it takes away from you every single day, and you feel you fading away and you're not doing anything about it. And then from here, there's a million different combinations of something that is going on in your life, which you try to avoid to look at, and you pretend that you have no idea what you should do. So this is basically a story from my life. And I'm going to share this story because you will understand. So first of all, I was living in England. And then I'm going to share all these stories so you can reflect back to your own life and see, like, am I doing this to myself? Because when I was there in the story, honestly, I had no idea what the heck was going on. Now looking back, it just makes so much sense. I'm like, Agnes, it was in your face all the time. But when we are in it, we don't see it. So you need someone from outside to really shake you and say, hey, so this is me now today. I was living in England, and I was feeling that I'm not in the right place anymore. So nothing was working out. Like, this is already, I was aware, but I was not, understanding it. So I could feel it. I feel, I felt it. The signs were there. My relationship was dying. There was no opportunities. All the doors were shut in my face. I had no job. I had almost no money left. And I hated the place that I was living. So you can't have more things like that, right? So everything was like a big down zero. And I was still not getting it. I was still not doing anything. Like, it was very obvious that I had to come back home to my home country, but I didn't do it. And why? Of a freaking idiot, stupid belief. And the belief was that I failed. And if I come home, because when I went to England, I had all these big dreams. I said, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to achieve this, I'm going to achieve that. And based on my own um, standards, I failed. So I believe that if I come home, I need to admit that I failed what I put out there to achieve. So I didn't want to come home to admit that I failed. So I was just really trying to hang on and cling to every freaking thing, convince myself that this is just going to be okay, which was not okay. Everything was falling apart, falling apart. So that was the first level. And then I ignored that. The second level was I was being sent a lot of messages from outside, from everybody that I was talking to. We were keep talking about the same thing. I was seeing a lot of signs, which I obviously ignored. So because I was keep ignoring it, I was starting to send people to me that, like, super crazy, random people coming to me. For example, one day I went to next to shop. I go inside the shop. It was a kind of spiritual shop. The moment that I go in, the guy stands up behind the counter, comes out, stops in front of me and says, your angels are telling you to do what you need to do. This is an urgent message. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was like shocked. And they're saying, you know what you have to do, go and do it. And I'm like, I have no idea what they're talking about. And truly, like, I really didn't know what they're talking about. I mean, I could feel it, but I was not like, I knew what I have to do, but I didn't admit that I knew that I knew. You know what I mean? And this is the biggest thing that we all do to ourselves. Like, you kind of know, but you don't, you pretend you don't know. So I was really like, pa, 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 pa. I don't understand. So, of course, ignored again. So it's crazy, but every week I met another medium. So I never in my entire life met so many mediums in such a short time. Every week, like crazy places. I decided to go on an event. The first person that comes into, and like the elevator opens, the person steps out, we are still trying to mingle and get to know each other. She comes directly to me and says hi, and I'm like, hi. So we become friends. It turns out she's a medium. She has a message for me. 2 weeks later, I go to a market and I'm selling my arty stuffs. Right next to me, it's a couple, both of them mediums. We start to talk, and one of them said, like, do you want to come to a session? I'm still, starting out, but I really love your art. I can't afford it, but I thought we can do an exchange. And I said, like, yeah, I'm curious. I go to her. The first moment she opens the door, she's like, there's an urgent message coming through to you. Someone really, like, it's been here since morning. Never happened this before. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I didn't believe in all these things, I have to say. Right? We're talking about 12 years ago. But I was curious. Didn't believe, but I was curious. So I was like, oh, that's crazy. So come in, and my grandfather comes through. She really depicts him amazingly well. So I'm like, I mean, this is not, it's something really going on here. And his message is, don't, it's like, but like exactly like that. Don't hold yourself back. You have to go open your wings and fly. And I was like, whoa. So I started crying, 10 minutes crying. And basically, they had to go as far as bringing my grandfather through to tell me exactly the words that I needed to know. Go freaking home. You have to fly. Now, that was the last drop. And I finally got it. And I said, okay, I'm done. I'm done with this. And everything that was building up of all the things that I didn't have there were waiting me in Budapest. And the moment I arrived, everything just actually fell into my lap. Everything, the dream job, the money that I was desiring, the freedom I was desiring, the relationship I was desiring, everything that I didn't have and I wanted. And and then I was like, I didn't even make it then. Later I was like, whoa. But then I was like, I didn't realize, oh my God, what was actually going on. You know, and this is really crazy. This is happening for all of us, but we just really pretend we don't understand what's going on. Now, the second thing, which was a big, crazy stuff and learning for me from the same story, is that when I came home and I really felt shame, I feel shame that I came home and I'm like, I couldn't really do the things that I, put out there to do, which I actually did much more than that. But because I had this pattern of not being good enough, I just couldn't see the amazingness and the achievements that I actually was able to do, whereas other people were. So I came home and I said to a friend, like, I really had problems to come home because I really believe that people, or you, especially the people I cared about, will think that I felt. It's like, what? So it's like, what? So you're the hero. Like everybody, we are like, oh my God, Agnes who took a suitcase and went to a country she had never been to. And then she actually started working and created this and did exhibitions and went here and then traveled and then lived here and lived there. And it's like, you are the star. Like we don't even have the courage to go on a holiday, nothing, like let alone move to a different country. And I was just sitting there thinking, whoa, that how badly I'm seeing myself, like how so many filters I'm seeing myself and what is the reality that how other people are actually seeing me. So for me, that was a big thing, like how our fears can hold us back, and especially the fears that are not even true, that really doesn't have to do with reality, and they are really controlling our life, they're controlling our actions, they're controlling the results. And and there are patterns controlling us from backstage that we are not even aware of. And this is why it took me so much time to actually take the steps. And it really had to, I really pushed it so far. I could have done it basically in first months when I already felt like this is not going to work. I just go and just move on. No, I gave it 1.5 years to keep trying not to see reality. And everybody does that. So have a look in your life and just kind of this is a pre homework. Just kind of look into your life, like where you are pretending that you don't want to see what's going on because of some type of made up fear or illusion that this is what's going to happen if I do this. And these are fears that are not even true, like jobs that we believe that if we just leave this shitty one, you are not going to have another one. Yet the other one is already waiting for you. But believing that is not, and then you don't even give a chance, you're going to stay in something that you hate. So you're going to get sick, right? That's the third stage. So the third stage, if you ignore your inner calling and you keep ignoring what you feel and you don't follow on your calling to do what you need to do, which would be actually quite joyful. The second, you're ignoring all the outside messages of all the people who try to tell you and push you towards what you desire, and all the other things that you see in books and videos. And then you sometimes you have these videos that they really feel like they're talking to you specifically. Well, this is your higher self talking to you specifically, and we still decide not to listen for some crazy fear or belief. Then the third stage is going to be the body. And because that's where you can't ignore, or at least this is what higher self believes, like the body, that's a little bit more difficult to ignore. And so it's going to come with different types of imbalances and symptoms. So now, when and next time I'm going to talk about more, because the different types of messages. So not all illnesses come from ignoring what's going on. Some are not, but majority are. And the illness usually comes way after the problem has been there, and you have been ignoring it, and you have been ignoring to take the step. And so it's already this going on. That's why I love nowadays that I went actually to a hair therapist. and and the first question she asked me, she said, well, sis, when do you see that you have this hair loss? And I said to her, blah blah blah. She's like, okay, so could you tell me what was going on around that area, like that time of your life? Was anything stressful going on? Any breakup? Anything in your job? Anything in your area? Life in general? And I was like, whoa, there we go. This means that we are advancing. This is high consciousness types. Like, it's not anymore like, okay, let me look. Yes, okay, I give you this thing, put it in your hair, blah blah blah. No, she really started super holistically to ask me a lot of questions. And I said to her, I'm so happy. Like, I really said to her, I'm so happy that you're asking these questions, because that's exactly it. Like, I know you're going to give me a shampoo or something to treat my scalp, but I love that you're asking about the emotional background, because the emotions are the ones that create, if it's too crazy, create a disbalance or imbalance in your body. So instead of just treating the result and the imbalance in the body, we should treat the cause of the imbalance. Because if that's not God, the problem, even if you're treating it with the right products, it might not go, or if it goes, it will come back in a different way, because you will recreate it, because your higher self won't stop until you come back on track. And that's its job. That's why you're here. So you are back on track. So you're doing what you're supposed to do. So it's very logical, right? So the next level, which if you still don't, and then many people just take a pill and they numb whatever their body is telling them. And then the next level, and which is usually the final level. No, I would say, well, let me say it's final. I would maybe took the final into different categories. The first one would be different life threatening, or different bigger life, like, what's the word, um, life altering situations, something big that it kind of, like, like, sits you down. So you get that time and space in your life. No mid transformation. It's something big, like an accident, or someone around you happens, like, or like you lose someone, for example, or they kick you out from your job, or the relationship that you believed is so amazing and so stable, it just finishes. Something big. Yeah, something, well, traumatic, let's say. But right, so it can happen at any age. Like, we keep ignoring. A short example of that is a friend of mine who was super exhausted. She was had a lot of work to do, and every time we were meeting, she said, I'm sorry, I'm just so tired. I'm like, I'm just so exhausted, like. And I was keep saying, why don't you take a few days off? And then she was always like, I can't, because now we are starting the season. I can't because my colleague is sick. I can't because we are just, in December. I can't because, like, there's always something. And she was always exhausted. So every time we were talking, she was like, I wish I could just sleep for 3 days in a row. And it's like, come on, like, it's just, you have to take days off and just do that. She was not doing it. So you see, She already passed through the first level, which was she felt she needed to do that, right? Her body was saying, I want to sleep. I want to sleep. She was like, shut up. There's no time for you. Second, I was already telling her in her face, do this. You have to do this. She was ignoring it. So one day I get a message from her, a voice message. She says, you won't believe what happened. I'm in the hospital. I was like, I kind of can't like figure out what happened, but tell me what happened. So she says, guess what? In the morning, I was going to job and I was going down the escalator, and then I just hear this poof, pop, poof, poof. And like look back and I see a big suitcase coming down behind me. You know, somebody just like dropped it or something happened. And it was just like, you know, like pop, like just jumping on the stairs down towards her. And she, you know, you can't really run down the escalator, so you can go down, but there is an end to it. And she was like, I thought I can make it before it reaches me, but it just hit my ankle. So I have my ankle is broken and I'm in the hospital. So I got a 6 weeks sick leave. And I said to her, well, now you can sleep. It's like, you just didn't understand. Like, why you had to wait for that to happen? and and I see this over and over again. So we just don't get it, and then you just create for yourself. You create it for yourself. And so this is one. And the last stage, which I find fascinating, and I want to talk next time about it, is near death experiences. Now, this is the last level of you not understanding and getting and doing what you need to do. You are so off track that nothing worked. So your higher self literally needs to kick you out of your body so you can go up, and they can tell you what the heck is going on, and you're like, okay, now I know, thank you. And you come back and then you change your life. Now, if you ever listen, I love, there is a Next Level Soul podcast. This is a podcast on YouTube, which I absolutely recommend. It's mind blowing, like literally. And this guy, Alex, interviews a lot of celebrities. 80% of them had near death experiences. And when I mean celebrities, I mean spiritual, in the spiritual world, celebrities, spiritual gurus and channelers and all that. Now, I realized this pattern when I was listening to them. Everybody says exactly the same thing. I just didn't listen. So I literally had to die to go to the other side to get the message to what the heck I'm doing, what I should do, and then come back to the body and say, oh, right, now I can do it better. And even 2 days ago, I met a guy here in Budapest who had 2 near-death experiences. And we were talking, and he actually said the same thing. Like, I was so off track. I was so lost. I was so, when I say off track, I mean, he was going and really pushing something that he was not supposed to, and he was not listening, that he's not supposed to do that, but he's supposed to do something completely different. And they literally had to kick him out of his body. And then and then in his case, he didn't have like this near death experience in a way that he goes up whatever, in this other realm, and then he talks with some beings or family members who passed away, and then they actually have a conversation, and then a whole story, and then comes back, like Anita Moriani, which I also recommend, which is again such a crazy story, that she created her own cancer. She had a few hours left in the hospital. All her organs were giving up and just stopping to work. The doctor said max 2 hours to live. She dies, goes to wherever she goes. She has a completely crazy story there. Then she gets the message of like how the heck I created the cancer, and that I wasn't supposed to create the cancer. And she comes back, and then she heals herself in, I think, a couple of weeks, over 3 weeks. Now all the cancer was already spread in all her body, and it was gone in 2 weeks. And she has records because the doctors didn't leave her, get her to leave the hospital for 6 weeks. So they were keep doing all the checks because they didn't believe this is possible. So she came back and she said, I'm fine. I'm going to be fine. And because she got the message that she was not getting before. And if you listen to her on YouTube, she just, you put Anita Moriani. But this Next Level Soul podcast has hundreds of these stories and interviews with people, and always the same story and always the same result. They go, they understand who they are, what they're doing here, and how off they were, and how much they were pushing down what they had to see and heal. And even there is one with which, even when you are successful, which I would believe it means you are on track. UK most well-known psychics, which also has an interview there. I was blown away by her interview. She was successful. She was working as a medium. She was doing like a lot of series on television as a medium. Everything was amazing from outside, a lot of money, all good. And then she was absolutely off track. And you're like, how would that be absolutely off track? Right? Like, he was like, that's how can that be? And she has a near-death experience. And then, well, listen to that. She actually goes in 5 years. She loses everything. She comes out from the abusive uh, marriage, and she realized that all her life she was suppressing the trauma from childhood, that she was just, doing all the things, distracting herself with reality and life and being famous and money and all that. And she pushed down and suppressed all the trauma, and she never faced that. So she basically, well, she has a whole angel and spirit guide team. She was in bed for 5 years to heal her childhood and her traumas and everything. And then she builds back her life from scratch, basically, with like a lot of debts, and the husband took everything, and no house, no money, debts, no like celebrity, no job, like crazy story. And then she builds her whole life from scratch, and now she's on track, and she's teaching this. Like, I've known so many stories like that I find it, that's why the whole pattern just, for me, is just so amazing to see, like, whoa, this is what actually going on. And we can avoid this, we can avoid the accidents, we can avoid the near-death experiences. They're not something that supposed to happen. If only we could understand it before, we could reconnect to the guidance, we could listen to the guidance just for the first intuition that it comes. And this is my biggest purpose in Soul Hub community. And I can see the results of what we've done in 1 year since I started, like how easily all of us, we can just follow in the slightest breeze that it comes, like you get this, like, oh, and then you already, that this is for the best and the highest and greatest good, and it's your higher self talking to you, so you don't doubt anymore. You just do it, you just follow, and it turns out, oh my god, this is fantastic. And then you follow the next, and oh my god, it's fantastic. And you realize that each step is already there, and there's nothing to do for you, just to follow. No figuring out, no trying to like make it happen, no working hard, no making it or manifesting it, like none of this. It's already there. But because you don't follow, it feels like a huge struggle, and like being, blindfolded, in a, I don't know, in a place where you can get hurt. I don't know what that place is, but on a cliff. But this is how life feels, and it doesn't have to be like that. So life is super, super, super. Like, there's so much guidance and clarity that we're getting every day, and there's so much love. If only we could just see that, trust that, and follow that. So this is why I actually originally created this whole series, so I can tell you this and tell you more about this, and then even give you some tools, and so you can do the whole auto reflection and get back on track and allow everything to come to you. So with that said, I'm opening the Q&A because this is how much I wanted to share today.